Hi, I'm Linlee Jordan. I'm going to do a review of this book by Dr. Manuel Mateu-Ratera. It's First Aid with Homeopathy, and I'll just read the front cover. The ultimate medical guide for travelers and athletes, also covering work-related accidents and major disasters. And here's a photo of him on the front cover there, on the back cover there. So the first thing I want to tell you about him is that he was a mountain climber. Even way back in 1982, he went on an expedition to go up the west face of Mount Everest. And even at that time, he was already recognized as an expert in emergency medicine. And that experience really helped him to put together a lot of information about high altitude sickness. And he was very interested in having a really good first aid kit to give to people in lots of different travel or sports activities. So a large part of the book is put towards thinking, what do you actually need with allopathic and homeopathic medicines for a really advanced level kit or basic kits, like for mountaineering, for sailing, diving, and even to exposure to radioactivity. So one of the driving forces behind him writing the book stemmed from his reflections on accidents on the mountain, including one incident that he said scarred me deeply. So his aim was to teach others how to avoid accidents and effectively provide assistance. He gathered the best advice possible with a collaboration with an international team of colleagues. And I tell you what, the references in the back of the book are really interesting in their own right. So the first edition was already pretty comprehensive, but the second edition, this one that I showed you, he recognized that there's a need to include more about resuscitation techniques, conventional medicine, even Chinese pressure points, how to give immediate relief in some emergency scenarios like natural disasters, deep sea diving traumas, jet lag, prophylaxis for different diseases, management of chemical and radiation exposures, and even poisonings, even mushroom-related poisonings. So these editions really make this book into a complete manual. I can really happily say if you're leading an expedition or you're heading into the outback, you're going on a trek, even if you're just taking a bushwalk, if you've only got room for an extra thing, make it this book, because you never know when you're going to encounter something which is a true emergency. I really mean that. I think you put this book in and take notice of what it says to be able to up your first aid level skills and your readiness, your brownie skills. So I'm not the only person saying that. Mate Bravo, who's the president of the Medical Homeopathic Academy of Barcelona, so I'll just read you what he said. I highly recommend this book. It's been an essential part of my work for years as a volunteer with Homeopaths Without Borders. It's accompanied me on many trips and has served as the foundation for homeopathic first aid training in Nicaragua. So I think for practitioners, for preppers, for people living in the bush and everybody in between, this book's not only an indispensable travel book, but it's a really valuable resource for home use as well. It goes far beyond the oversimplified homeopathy guides that tell you aconites for fevers, arnicas for bruises. This has a strong emphasis on first aid skills and what to do and how to incorporate homeopathy into many situations. There's even reminders in there about how to use the automated external defibrillator, and there's illustrations about managing fractures. So can you imagine the joy of having that information there with homeopathy running through it? It's fantastic. So the book addresses a wide range of accidents at home, at work, in sports, even snake bites. One thing that I am impressed by is even when you're looking at the 208 remedies in the book, describing the characteristics and essences of them, you know, from authors like Sholton and Sankran and Vitulkas and so on, and Grand George, it's not an unreasonable question to say, why on earth are you putting essences and themes about a person in a first aid manual? Surely you only really need to know about the first aid problems. But if you think about it, people often reveal their true selves under real stress during emergencies, and some of the insights that he's included are really invaluable for prescribing in the first aid situation. So, Ratera also, his exploration of the meaning behind accidents further clarifies his rationale for incorporating these themes. He interprets accidents as not just merely bad luck, but as potential signs of, this is in his words, impetuosity, negligence, obsessive behavior, the kind of thing that disconnects us from our instinct for caution. And in this way, accidents can serve as warnings, just like symptoms of illness. So interesting stuff. Regarding potency, the book specifies 6C and 15C for treating local acute or superficial disorders, 30C and higher for severe issues or processes that have high emotional content. And then his findings are that if you're going to use arnica in certain situations, you need a much higher potency. A 10M is much more effective in certain emergencies. So the section on prophylaxis for infectious diseases has been developed after consulting a team of 7 experts from around the world, and he doesn't hesitate to mention vaccine characteristics and side effects. So, in conclusion, this is an up-to-date book with a tremendous wealth of knowledge and guidance in it. It's a practical, handy little size, really good hardback binding, and it's resilient enough you can chuck it in your backpack. It's 928 pages. So that's my review of this book, and I think probably all of us need to have it. You never know when the next round of floods and fires and drought and so on is going to come along. So we all need this book. Thank you. That's my review.